For each and every one of you. Let us know where in the world you're tuning in from. We'd love to hear from you in the comments. Let's begin. I always believe marriages fall apart slowly. Arguments, distance, resentment piling up like dust. But mine didn't crumble gradually. Mine split open in one violent moment I never saw coming. It began with something small, something innocent. I was running late that morning, rushing around the kitchen, trying to pack my lunch for the construction site. My wife, Hannah, sat at the counter scrolling her phone, her hair in a loose bun, her robe tied lazily around her waist. She looked tired, distant, not the woman who used to jump into my arms when I came home from work, laughing about nothing at all. We had been disconnected lately. Her late nights, my early shifts, quiet dinners, forced smiles, nights where she faced the wall, pretending to sleep even though I could hear the faint tap of her fingers texting someone. I kept telling myself it was just work stress. People change. Marriage goes through seasons. But deep down, something coiled in my chest. A tension I couldn't shake no matter how hard I tried. "You heading in early today?" she asked without looking up. "Yeah," I said, tying my boots. "Got a new project pouring concrete near the west side." She just hummed, still scrolling. I paused, studying her. "Everything okay? You've been different." She finally looked up, eyes hazel but strangely empty. "I'm fine, Everett. Seriously, you're overthinking." Ever since she'd started her new marketing job, there was a layer between us, something transparent but undeniably present. She dressed different, spoke different, laughed different. The smallest things, but enough for me to notice. Still, I swallowed it, as husbands often do. Before heading out, I walked over and kissed the top of her head. She didn't lean in the way she used to. On my drive to work, I tried brushing off the feeling. The job site was busy, loud, chaotic. Jackhammers, shouts, cement mixers. Everything I needed to drown out whatever was clawing inside my chest. But the entire morning, my phone buzzed repeatedly. Not with texts from her, but from her best friend, Ava. Missed calls, short messages. "Call me when you can. Everett, I need to talk to you. It's important." Ava never messaged me. Ever. At lunchtime, I finally stepped aside and called her. She answered instantly, voice trembling. "Everett, where's Hannah?" "At some cafe with a coworker, I think." "What?" Silence. Then a shaking breath. "Everett, she's not at a cafe." My stomach dropped. "What do you mean she's not? I'm sending you something. Please, sit down before you open it." My hands were already sweating by the time her message came through. A single image. One I will never forget. Hannah, in a hotel room, wearing nothing but a white robe, standing beside a man I recognized from her office, leaning toward him like they'd spent the morning sharing far more than coffee. Everything inside me went still. No yelling, no punching the nearest wall, just a freezing, absolute silence, the kind that only arrives when a truth hits so deep it numbs you. I stared at the picture until my vision blurred, the world around me dissolved, and every memory of my wife. Our first date, our vows, the night she cried in my arms, flashed like a cruel montage. A coworker, a robe, a hotel room, and the worst part, she had lied to my face with a calm I couldn't even comprehend. I didn't scream. I didn't call her. I didn't storm home. I just whispered to myself, "Okay, then that's how it's going to be." Because betrayal has a strange way of awakening something in you. Something sharp, calculating, and terrifyingly clear. And in that moment, as I stared at that photo, my revenge began forming all on its own. I didn't go back to work after lunch. I couldn't. My hands were trembling too badly to hold a tool, and every sound on the construction site felt muffled, distant, like I was underwater. I signed out early, told the foreman I felt sick, technically true, and sat in my truck with the engine running, staring straight ahead without blinking. The photo was still on my screen, burning like a brand. Hannah in a robe. The man beside her, Colton, I remembered now. The guy she always said was just loud but harmless. The guy she told me not to be insecure about. The guy she talked about more often than her own sister. I pressed my thumb against the steering wheel so hard my nail bent. A slow, twisting heat formed in my chest. Not the kind that makes you explode, but the kind that makes you think. Carefully, coldly. But first I needed answers. Not from Hannah. From the person who sent the photo. I drove straight to Ava's apartment building. She was waiting in the lobby, pacing back and forth with her phone clutched in her shaking hands. When she saw me, she swallowed hard, guilt flooding her face. "Everett, I'm so sorry. Just tell me the truth," I said, voice level. Too level. "How long?" Her lip trembled. "A few weeks, maybe longer." I didn't want to believe it. She kept telling me she was happy, just different. And then I saw her this morning, getting into an elevator with him at the Eastview Hotel. She covered her mouth, tears forming. "I couldn't lie to you. You don't deserve to be made a fool of." The words hit harder than the photo. Made a fool of. I wasn't angry at Ava. She didn't betray me. But hearing the truth spoken aloud, hearing the reality of what my wife was doing, felt like being struck with a steel pipe. I nodded slowly. "Thank you for telling me." "Everett," she whispered, "what are you going to do?" I didn't answer, because I wasn't sure yet. But I knew what I wouldn't do. I wouldn't scream. I wouldn't throw a tantrum. I wouldn't make threats. Revenge delivered loudly is messy. Revenge delivered silently? That's unforgettable. I walked back to my truck and sat behind the wheel, staring at my hands. Hard-working hands. Hands that built things, fixed things, protected people. These hands held Hannah through her worst nights, held her when she cried about losing her first job, held her when she said she was scared of failing in life. And now those same hands were shaking because she threw everything we had away like it meant nothing. As I drove home, the quiet inside the truck felt suffocating. Every red light, every passing car, every familiar street made the betrayal feel sharper. Worse. Personal. When I walked into our house, the smell of her perfume still lingered in the hallway. A floral scent she wore on special occasions. Except today it wasn't special. Not for us, but apparently special enough for someone else. I walked into our bedroom, sat on the edge of the bed, and stared at the framed photos on our nightstand. Our trip to Lake Tahoe, her laughing in the sunlight, me holding her close like she was the only person I'd ever love. I felt nothing now. Not love. Not heartbreak. Just clarity. There's a point people reach when the pain is so deep it becomes quiet. Still. Focused. That's where I was. I stood up, opened the closet, and pulled out her safe box. Inside were documents, deeds, insurance papers, our joint financial accounts. Everything tied to our life together. I didn't touch anything yet, but I looked at all of it, memorizing what would eventually be hers and what would not. My phone buzzed. A text from Hannah. "Heading home soon. Coffee took longer than expected. You okay?" The audacity, the calmness, the boldness to lie without hesitation. I typed back. "Yeah, all good." 5 words. Simple, cold, unbothered. She responded with a smiley face. For a moment, I stared at the message, marveling at how easy lying came to her now. I showered, changed, and sat on the couch waiting. When her car finally pulled into the driveway, I didn't move. The front door opened. Hannah walked in carrying a small shopping bag, humming like her day had been perfectly normal. "Hey," she said brightly. "Sorry I got back so late. Mason and I kept talking about the new project at the office and..." Her words froze when she saw my expression. "Everett, you okay?" I looked at her for a long, silent second. She didn't know. She had no idea. She still believed she was 2 steps ahead of me. "Yeah," I said quietly. "I'm fine." She smiled again, relieved. "Good. I'm gonna go take a shower. Long day." Of course she was. As she walked down the hallway and shut the bathroom door, I leaned back and closed my eyes. I wasn't going to confront her. Not yet. Cheaters don't deserve the satisfaction of knowing you're hurting. They deserve the shock of realizing you never planned to stay hurt. And the revenge forming in my mind was the kind that left no room for second chances. No room for excuses. No room for pretending. Because if she could quietly betray me, I could quietly dismantle the life she thought she controlled. And when it was done, she would understand exactly what she lost. Hannah came out of the shower wrapped in a fresh towel, steam flowing from the bathroom behind her. She moved around the bedroom like everything in her life was perfectly steady, like her world was safe, stable, untouched. She hummed as she applied lotion, styled her hair, and picked out pajamas, completely unaware that I had already seen the truth behind her day. But the strangest part wasn't her lies. It was how easily she acted like nothing was wrong, like the guilt never even touched her skin. I watched her quietly from the doorway, leaning against the frame, keeping my face unreadable. She glanced at me and smiled. "You're staring," she said with a light laugh. "What's up?" "Just thinking," I said. My voice was steady calm, almost too calm. She didn't suspect a thing. That night, as she curled up next to me in bed, she rested her head on my shoulder like she used to. For a moment, I wondered if she felt even a sliver of remorse, if a shadow of guilt crept into her mind. But no, she fell asleep quickly, breathing evenly, as if she carried no secrets at all. I stayed awake, not to torture myself, but to plan, because I wasn't going to confront her with shouting. I wasn't going to ask, "Why did you do it?" I wasn't going to beg or cry or break. She didn't deserve my heartbreak, only my strategy. Over the next days, I became two different men. To Hannah, I was normal, gentle, attentive, routine. I made breakfast, folded laundry, joked with her at the dinner table. She relaxed around me more than ever, completely unaware that her betrayal had already started unraveling her life. But behind the scenes, I was busy. The first thing I did was call my cousin, Logan, who worked in accounting. I asked him a favor, a discreet one. "I need help moving my savings into a separate account," I said, quietly, without the joint notifications. He didn't ask questions. "I'll handle it." Next, I gathered every document tied to our assets. The house, the accounts, the car, the insurance. I scanned copies, organized files, and tracked down every detail Hannah had conveniently ignored when we moved in together. While she thought our marriage was steady, I was laying the groundwork for a life she wouldn't have access to anymore. She continued her routine as if nothing had shifted. Late night showers, sudden evening emails, phone flipped downward on the table. Her laughter drifting from the patio as she stepped outside to call her mom. But I didn't accuse her. I didn't interrogate her. See, confrontation gives them power. Silence takes it away. And with silence, people reveal themselves. One evening, a small but telling moment happened. We were watching a movie when her phone buzzed on the coffee table. She instantly moved to grab it, but I got there first, not because I wanted to see the message, but because I wanted to watch her reaction. Her face went pale. "It's just work stuff," she said quickly, snatching it from my hand before I even had the chance to pass it to her. I leaned back on the couch slowly, expression steady. "No problem." She forced a smile. "Sorry, I'm just stressed." I nodded. "I get it." But inside, her panic only confirmed what I already knew. She was still meeting him, still lying, still comfortable in her secret. Good. The deeper she sunk into her fantasy, the harder the fall would be. The next piece of my plan required patience. I contacted Ava again, not to drag her into the drama, but because she was the only person willing to tell me the truth. She met me at a quiet cafe. "Everett, are you holding up?" she asked, concern clouding her face. "I'm fine," I said, "but I need one more favor. If you ever see her with him again, anytime, anywhere, let me know. Don't confront her. Just tell me." Ava hesitated. "Are you going to do something dangerous?" "No," I said with an icy calm. "Just necessary." She nodded slowly. "Okay, I'll tell you." Walking out of the cafe, I felt something I hadn't felt since the day I saw the photo, control. Not over her, over myself. And that mattered more than anything. That weekend, Hannah suggested we go out for dinner. Years ago, that would have made me smile. Now, it felt like walking into a theater where I already knew the ending. She dressed beautifully, hair curled, light makeup, a soft blue dress I used to love. She turned to me, spinning lightly. "What do you think?" she asked. I studied her. "You look nice." She grinned, stepping closer to fix the collar of my shirt. "See, we're still good, Ev. I know things were weird lately, but I feel like we're reconnecting." The words cut deeper than any confession would have. Reconnecting? She was at a hotel in a robe, with another man, and she dared to say we were reconnecting? But again, I smiled. Calm, controlled. "Yeah," I said. "We are." Her eyes softened, and she leaned against me. But if she felt safe, that only meant my plan was working. During dinner, she told stories about her week, about office gossip, about her new project with the team. She avoided saying the name Colton, even once. That told me everything. By the time we drove home, she was relaxed, humming to the radio, satisfied with the illusion she created. She didn't know I had already decided the end. She didn't know that her comfort was temporary. And she didn't know that while she drifted back into her false world, the trap around her was already tightening, quietly, precisely, perfectly. Because I wasn't planning on just ending things with her. I was planning on ending her access to everything she thought she could keep. And when that moment arrived, she would learn what betrayal truly costs. Hannah thought everything was easing back into normal. She genuinely believed her performances, her smiles, her gentle touches, her late-night work updates were enough to keep me blind. But the truth was, I was simply waiting, not hoping for her to confess, not hoping for her to feel guilt. I was waiting for the right moment for everything to collapse. And that moment finally came on a quiet Thursday night. I was fixing a hinge on a kitchen cabinet when my phone buzzed. A message from Ava. Everett, she's here again. Same hotel. Same room floor. No panic. No anger. No heartbreak. Just focus. Thank you. I replied, grabbing my jacket. I didn't rush. I didn't slam the door or speed through traffic. Revenge isn't a race. It's a precision move. And I had every step memorized. The Eastview Hotel was calm when I arrived. The lobby smelled of citrus and expensive polish. I walked past the front desk with a steady pace, not toward their room. I already knew I didn't need to burst into anything. Instead, I spoke quietly to the front desk clerk. Excuse me, I need a printed copy of my wife's room charges. She's been here with our joint card. He hesitated. Sir, I'm not sure I slid my ID and our joint card forward. He checked the system, and his eyes softened with apology. Oh, yes, she's here frequently. I can print the records. Hotel staff know more secrets than anyone else, and mine had just been confirmed. I thanked him, took the envelope, and walked out without ever going upstairs. I didn't need to see her. I didn't want to. Seeing reality on paper was enough. When I got home, I placed the envelope on the dining table and waited. It took an hour before Hannah finally came through the door. Hair slightly messy, lipstick faded, wearing the same sweater she had left the house in earlier. She startled when she saw me awake. Oh, you're still up? I thought you were going to bed early. I nodded calmly. Had to fix the cabinet. She smiled awkwardly, brushing hair behind her ear. Well, I'm exhausted. I'm going to go shower. She stepped past me until I said two words that made her freeze. Sit down. She turned back slowly. Everett, why are you talking like that? I didn't raise my voice. Didn't show anger. Didn't accuse her. I simply slid the envelope across the table. Open it. She hesitated, then pulled out the documents. Receipts. Dates. Charges. Room numbers. Her breath caught. Her face drained. Where did you get this? She whispered. The hotel printed it for me. She shook her head rapidly. Everett, please, it's not what it looks like. I swear I held up a hand, stopping her. Hannah, I'm not here to listen to excuses. I already know. Tears filled her eyes. Please let me explain. There's nothing you can say, I said quietly. Not anymore. Her voice cracked. Are you leaving me? I stood, sliding a folder onto the table. Inside were documents. My new separate account. My portion of the savings. A lease agreement for a place I already secured. A separation plan prepared by a lawyer. I'm not leaving in anger, I said. I'm leaving because you already left long before today. She covered her mouth, sobbing. Everett, please, don't do this. I made a mistake. A stupid mistake. We can fix this. No, I said softly. You didn't make a mistake. You made a choice. A deliberate one. Repeatedly. She reached for my hand, but I stepped back. Hannah, I gave you every part of me. My time, my loyalty, my trust. And you repaid it with secrets and hotel rooms. Her knees buckled, and she collapsed into a chair, sobbing. But I felt nothing. Not anger. Not pain. Not satisfaction. Just clarity. You can stay here until the end of the month, I said. Then I'm gone. She cried harder. Everett, please. I love you. I shook my head gently. Love isn't something you hide in hotel rooms. I grabbed my keys and walked toward the door. She called after me, broken, breathless, desperate. But I didn't stop. The man who walked out of that house wasn't destroyed. He was free.